Today's conversation is on not forming an identity based on conditions. Not forming an identity based on conditions. We're here in Blue Mountains enjoying a wonderful week of snowboarding. And also, you may have noticed that on Tuesday, I did not release a video on this channel. Yet I did release a video on my new channel. And on that channel, I discuss entrepreneurship based on personal experience of building 3 successful businesses since 2009. And I've brought back the mind maps on that channel as I felt that they would be appropriate for the level of depth that we are covering on that channel. If you haven't seen the channel, I will link to it in the description. I recommend checking it out. I trust you'll benefit greatly from the discussions there. So today, we're going to look at not forming an identity based on conditions. What do I mean by this? Well, I will pull up the Robert Dilts logical levels. You know, I refer to this a lot. One of the reasons why is it helps bring, let's say, heaven to earth. Bring what we're talking about down to earth. And by that I mean very specifically, you will see there you are on the top. I modified the Robert Dilts logical levels a little bit. This is not the way that he put it together, but this is my modification of it. I put the I on the top, which represents you. So, you have a vision, whatever it may be, to have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. Wonderful, harmonious relationship. Wonderful lifestyle. Could be a combination of all of that. Whatever it is that you desire, whatever you genuinely desire, you are that which you desire. In other words, desire means having. Desire means being. Anytime you acknowledge that you have what you desire, you essentially acknowledge that you are whole, complete, love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. So there you are on top. I, existence, existing as everything that you desire. Being all that you desire to be, having all that you desire, as perfect love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. In other words, you are perfection. So, we have a vision then. The vision is, let's say, to actualize our perfection. You desire to actualize your perfection. So, what happens then is you go on, or sort of appears this way, a journey to actualizing the vision. Now, below vision, you have identity. This is an identity construct. It is not you. You exist beyond this identity in the pyramid. You are existence as perfection. In other words, you are perfect. And this identity here may be formed through relating to appearances, such as environments, people, circumstance, information, representing the bottom layer of the pyramid, environment. It may be formed through how you relate to behaviors, the behaviors layer of the pyramid. For example, an individual behaves in a particular way, and they may label their behavior as a condition, saying that if they behave this way, then they are not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. They are not who they desire to be. That is clearly a condition, as You exist, the I on top, you exist as love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. You don't need to form a condition in mind to suggest that if a condition is met externally, then you are love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. You are love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment for no reason at all. The fact that you exist is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. As in, existence is that. Existence is all that you desire to be. Existence is everything that you desire. So if you desire love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, we could say that is God calling you back to being as you are, perfect as you are. So nothing wrong with an individual for desiring to be love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, desiring to actualize their vision. Desire means having. You found what you desire in the form of desire. So you accept yourself in the moment as fulfilled. And it could appear as a vision. For example, you may desire, as mentioned, a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. A wonderful lifestyle, which may include snowboarding. So you accept that you have what you desire. You have a vision. You imagine yourself experiencing the life that you desire. Thus, you know you have what you desire because you imagine yourself having the life that you desire. All these other areas transform, we could say, in ways that are known or unknown. We allow this identity construct to transform. So this identity construct is, let's say, if someone were to define themselves, they would say, oh, I like snowboarding. I like a particular style of snowboarding. I like doing marketing in a particular way. Let's say if you're an entrepreneur, I have this hobby. I consider myself to be whatever, an extroverted person, introverted person. That is part of the identity construct, which is there for human experience. Yet you, true identity, is beyond that identity, as in you can change that personal identity. You don't change. You can change the personal identity. You don't change. What I teach is be more as you are. So that personal identity in the pyramid, the values and beliefs, the behaviors, the capabilities, and the environments appear to change, yet you remain the same. Perfect example would be, as I allowed myself to be more as I am, as I say sometimes, what happened was I discovered that I was interested in particular hobbies, particular sports. I felt inspired then to, let's say at one point, transition from my IT business and start the YouTube channel. I moved to different countries. All of these authentic desires arose within. I accept them as fulfilled, as in the fact that I had a desire is a simple acknowledgement of having what I desire, being that which I desire to be. As existence is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, and those are symbols, we could say, of my individual experiences of infinite love, infinite happiness, infinite peace, infinite bliss, infinite wisdom. So, that stated, the identity construct may be made up of beliefs of limitation that the person in mind formed in relation to, let's say, environments, in relation to capabilities, their skill cultivation. Let's say, for example, if an individual is learning how to snowboard, if they look at the other snowboarders and they say, well, they seem to be progressing a lot faster than myself, then they may form an identity that says that they are a slow learner. Are they actually a slow learner? Or through forming that condition in mind, they have generated a limited, we could say, restrictive, limiting identity construct that results in them manifesting, we could say, that particular belief as theater to confirm an illusion that they are a slow learner. Are they really a slow learner? Or we could say, can they allow themselves to learn their way, their style, by being in flow? So I, on the top, choose to be as I am, as I arise from the sure foundation that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. I may imagine myself to be who I authentically am. I find it in the form of desire, and I acknowledge that I have what I desire. Then all of these things naturally change, transform, or we could say appear to transform. The personal identity is fluid and dynamic, and although a person may look at me and say, well, Joseph, I define you as this way and that way, you appear to be like this, you appear to be like that, what they're referring to is this identity construct in the pyramid, which is there for human experience. What I recommend is not forming conditions around appearances so that does not form conditions in mind. There are values and beliefs in the pyramid, identity that is not true and authentic. And then what happens is you remain in your flow. So I appear to flow. I am still love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Yet I, the individual, appear to flow to actualize the business, the relationship, the lifestyle. You simply be, you could say. I just be. And everything is taken care of. The identity transforms, and by that I mean this construct that transforms, it appears that way. The values and beliefs transform, the capabilities transform, as in the skill is cultivated. You have fun. I allow myself to be as I go down the slopes, again, again, and again. As an entrepreneur, for example, sales presentations, I allow myself to be. I perform the sales presentations from a state of flow, again, again, and again. Environments appear to transform. People, environment, circumstance, information appears to transform. Behaviors appear to transform. How so? Well, we could say you, in a flow-based way, cultivate your public speaking skills, your sales skills, your marketing skills, your direct response marketing, consultative selling, copywriting skills. Information appears to be in harmony and in contribution. That's because reality is in harmony with you. Reality equals harmony. So there you are on top, experiencing harmony. It is only through conditions in mind that the illusion is that if a condition is met, then love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And if the condition is not met, then not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And if there are these conditions, if the individual has placed conditions around appearances in relation to environment, in relation to capabilities, in relation to behaviors, for example, then let's say those conditions are not met. That could result in what I refer to as a flow restrictor. The flow appears to be restricted. And then the person in mind may blame the external environment, a person, etc. You are not the person in mind. That identity construct is made up of beliefs. It is not you. You are perfect as you are. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. In the moment, if these conditions appear, you can tell by, let's say, thoughts appearing in mind that suggest limitation, suggest condition. You can, in that moment, not identify with those thoughts. Those thoughts appear to disappear, and you remain in your flow. You don't form this identity there in the pyramid based on appearances. That would mean you are identified with, if you formed those beliefs, to those beliefs and are experiencing reality through the lens of those beliefs. And that could appear as, let's say, a distorted view of reality. Reality is perfect as it is now. You are perfect as you are now. You are whole, complete perfection. If you think you are not, think again. That is not you really thinking. That kind of thinking belongs to what the Bible refers to as the old man. And as it states in the Bible, we put off those former conversations. You are not the old man. I don't imagine you to be any form of restriction. You have what you desire. You are all that you desire to be. Because I see you as existence, whole, complete, perfect as you are. So as mentioned, the individual may experience a desire to be someone that they desire to be. That's the interesting thing about desire. Desire means having. Desire is God calling you to yourself, you could say. And the desire points to the fact that you are fulfilled. So desire means having. You acknowledge in the moment when the desire arises, I have. You may imagine yourself experiencing the life that you desire to live. Having the kind of experiences that you desire to have. In other words, you have accepted yourself the way you are, perfect as you are. And it appears in your mind's eye as, let's say, a scene that implies, or a vision, experiencing yourself having what you desire in imagination. And then what happens is you're on the journey to actualizing that vision. This personal identity transforms, the values and beliefs transform, and we allow it to happen. Mind purification happens. The conditions are released, because as mentioned, what could appear as a flow restrictor is actually a belief identified with that you can no longer identify with. And the thoughts that spawn from that belief disappear. The belief also disappears, we could say. The belief is no longer in mind. And what happens is you experience a flow-based journey to actualizing whatever that may be. You remain in your flow. For example, back in the days, I was refining my public speaking skills. Prior to the presentations, I noticed that I would experience, let's say, emotions strongly, which I could label as anxiety. They were emotions, energy in motion, experienced through the lens of that belief. How do I know? Well, as I released the conditions in mind, the conditions that appeared as thoughts that suggested that this person does not like the way that I communicate, or the workshops don't go this way or that way, that means I am not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. As I released those conditions, the energy in motion was transmuted into excitement. It got to a point where it first started out where I would experience anxiety leading up to the workshops that I would teach on Saturdays and Sundays. And anxiety would build up, let's say, to the point where at times, let's say I didn't feel like teaching the workshops, but that's an illusion because I was identified through a belief that was generating the illusion that I didn't want to teach the workshops. I genuinely wanted to teach the workshops. In other words, I was experiencing reality distorted through the lens of that belief. So what happened was I stopped identifying with those thoughts of limitation. I released the condition. I released the conditioning to those appearances. It doesn't matter what a person says, doesn't say, does not do. I still am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. You are still love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. So then the emotions got transmuted over to excitement. I experienced excitement. Everything appeared to transform. The classrooms appeared to transform. We could say we had more students. The feedback sheets after the workshops appear to transform. People started coming up to me afterwards, bringing me into their, asking me if I could do the presentations and the workshops for their organizations, etc. So we see then, as we release the conditions, we do not form an identity around limited conditions. What happens is we allow ourselves to be. By you being you, here you are, I being I, we could say, all of these other areas, they transform on their own. I don't do it. I can of myself do nothing. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within doeth the work. So I simply be and allow everything to happen. You could say, remain in flow. Body appears to flow, environments appear to flow. Everything appears to be in harmony. Reality is perfect as it is now. It can only not appear that way through identification to beliefs of condition. So this is what I mean by I do not form conditions. I do not form limitations anymore. Maybe before I did that. So another example would be, let's say if a person achieves a particular level of business success. So they're now making their monthly income goals, whatever it may be, 20,000, 30,000 a month. Maybe they became a millionaire, multi-millionaire now. And they form an identity around that money. And let's say they're out and about and they're connecting with people, and the people that they're connecting with are not, let's say, congratulating them or acknowledging them for driving whatever car, having whatever kind of brand that they're wearing or something like that. They now might think that they are lacking something because you could say, think that they want this person to give them approval validation of a condition. They have formed an identity around the appearance of money. So now they appear to navigate reality, which is perfect as it is, through the lens of that belief of limitation. They have formed a condition. They have formed an identity around that appearance of money. And it could be car, it could be relationship, it could be whatever. And if for some reason, for whatever the reason may be, the appearances change, their money fluctuates, the relationship transitions, they may think that they lack something. They may think that they lack love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. As mentioned, they don't lack love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Existence, the fact that they exist, is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, regardless of what appears. They acknowledge it experientially. How is this experientially felt? What could sound like just an interesting theory. What is the experience like? Well, the individual is experiencing love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment wherever they are. They still appear to do the things that they love to do, whether it be snowboarding, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be relationships. Yet, if anything changes in the appearances, they still experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. They still remain in their flow. Bliss over here, bliss over there, with or without the appearance. They have been liberated, truly, as they have not formed an identity around appearances. And thus, they don't need approval, validation, or confirmation of confirmation bias-based identity or beliefs in mind, because those beliefs no longer appear in mind. Those beliefs have been dissolved. So the way we do this is by any time the individual thinks that they need something to be love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, let it be. Don't identify with that thought. Anytime a desire arises, thank you, I have. Desire means having. That way you acknowledge that existence is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. You remain in your flow, and you do what you genuinely desire to do. You live how you genuinely desire to live. And it's also freeing because you don't look around to see what other people are doing, and then based on what they're doing, suggest that you need to do things the way that they're doing in order for you to be love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. That is clearly a result of identification to a confirmation bias-based belief that suggests you have to do it this way, that way, in order to be. You don't do anything to be. You simply be. You are perfect as you are. And what happens then is you enjoy life. You live an authentic life. A life that is your style of living. As I always say, your way is the best way. My way is the best way. That doesn't mean my way is better than your way and your way is better than my way. There's only the way appearing as our way, and we relate harmoniously with each other. So you are not higher or lower than me. We exist now perfectly as we are, as reality is. I spring from the sure foundation. You spring from the sure foundation that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. So then we realize that this is a play of God. And the way we witness this delightful play of God, the way I do it is I be. I be as I am. I be as I am. Because I know I spring from the sure foundation that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Another way of saying reality is perfect as it is. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. Truth, consciousness, bliss. So the way we live authentically is to not form an identity around appearances. This identity here, which we use to articulate in psychology, is fluid and dynamic. It also springs from the sure foundation that you are love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. It actually, you can even say, transforms to become aligned with the true identity. Perfect love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And the way it can appear, practically speaking, is this identity can change. Today I do this, tomorrow I do something else. Today I am involved with this business, tomorrow I'm involved with something else. Today I'm really focused on snowboarding and I'm really interested in it. Then I may take up a new hobby, yet I don't form an identity around those appearances. Because let's say if snowboarding season is over, if I have an identity around snowboarding and I have to do it in order to experience happiness, then I experience suffering. Suffering is a result of confirmation bias beliefs. So allow this identity construct in the pyramid to transform, appear to transform. And it manifests in body too, because it's physical, emotional, mental alignment to the spiritual truth. And it plays out as wonderful life experiences, doing what you love to do, spontaneity, a life free experientially from conditions. Or as I say sometimes, a life free from conditions placed upon consciousness, because as we form conditions upon consciousness, suggesting it needs to be this way or that way, then what happens is a person then forms an identity around those conditions. And let's say if those conditions are not met, as mentioned, they suffer. And they may project that to other people or environment and say it's because of the environment, because of the person. Everything is perfect as it is now. You allow yourself to be, you allow people to be, you allow environments to be. We could even say in relation to the model, you allow environments to be, you allow capabilities to be, you allow behaviors to be, and mind is purified. The identity construct in the pyramid, values and beliefs appear to transform. They're fluid. You may say, today I believe this, tomorrow I believe that. If a person is deeply identified with beliefs of limitation or identity of limitation, they miss the mark, we could say, of acknowledging true identity, which transcends this personal identity, which transcends the beliefs in mind, which already is all that they desire to be, which is you. So it's not a distant person. It's not a person out there. There is no person out there that you desire to be. You are the person you desire to be. You have what you desire now. And so you remain in your flow. And everything appears to be in harmony with you. People, environment, circumstance, information appears to be in harmony with you. So I just found this video to be helpful. My lips are getting a bit frozen. I'm going to go and hit the slopes now. Let's conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I have what I desire. I found what I desire in the form of desire. I am what I desire to be. I found that I am what I desire to be in the form of desire. That's body appears to flow. Environments appear to flow. People appear to flow. Reality appears to flow, to be in harmony with me, as reality is perfect as it is now, as I am perfect as I am now. I spring from the sure foundation of perfection. Therefore, I am perfect in every way now.